It should be alright. It's kind of how I took it off.
I don't know what that was.
Hey guys, welcome back to DMAC Customs on the YouTube. Dave here in the garage, Area 51. Washing machine is finished. Traffic. More traffic. Today I want to reunite the body with the chassis on the old Area 51 project. I've been puzzling about how I'm going to do this for months. I don't really remember how I got it up off there and stuff. It was a bit of a process from memory, but yeah, it's kind of like a giant game of Genga, blocks of wood and all sorts of apparatus. So let's get at it. Anyway, before I can do anything, I just want to put out a little warning there that this is kind of probably going to be a bit sketchy, and you probably shouldn't do this at home. If you know WorkSafe, which is our version of OSHA, or used to be called Occupational Health and Safety or stuff like that, if they ever seen you doing this in the workplace, they would probably come down on you like a ton of bricks. But I'll just close the door a bit so no one sees. Unless you're like a 4th dan Genga champion like myself, don't take this on. You know, I'm well trained in this. So yeah, forewarned. This is not a tutorial on how to put a 51 Chevy body back onto a 51 Chevy chassis by any stretch. I'm just doing what I'm doing with what I've got, and my championship experience helps with that. Yeah, so carry on. You've been warned. Washing machine still going. Yeah, a little rust hole there. Right, so what have I got this car? I got a whole like totally stainless nut and bolt kit supposedly for the whole car. I've since been finding out it's not a complete kit. There's stuff missing. Come with this body mounting kit, 51 to 54 Chevy. I've just pulled it out, having a look through it, counting up the amount of bolt holes and stuff I need to put bolts into, and there's not enough in this kit. Like I think I worked it out, there's like 7 bolts short, which is quite a bit to bolt this thing up. Like for all of these, there's plenty of these long ones. There's one long one that goes up each side on the front, and there's 2 down the back in the boot area, and there's the washing machine. But these shorter bolts are the ones that go through on these shorter mounts here. That one, that one, that one, that one, that one, I think. Now I didn't take this car apart, so I'm not 100% sure. So, and they're the ones that it just doesn't appear to be enough. And also there's the 2 bolts that go through on the front mount up in the engine bay, like these ones up here. So there's not enough. So what I'm going to endeavour to do is kind of get it down with some of the bolts through and all the rubber isolators and stuff to get it on there, and then I'll have to go and buy some more bolts to finish bolting it down. So, bloody hell. Now I also bought a rubber mount body kit. It says it's for a 49 to 54 Chevy. These 4 pieces were on the chassis when I separated the body and the chassis, and these 4 are the replacements. And as you can see, they're considerably thicker, which has me a little bit perplexed. And there's 2 different sizes, so there's a thick one, you know, there's two different sizes like that, and then you've got all these smaller body mount rubbers, isolators for all those other points. I think these are for the radiators. I found the old one of these in a box of stuff I got with the car, so that matches. So I don't know what that slightly bigger one's for. I think they're radiator core support isolators. But yeah, this has me a bit stumped as to why these are so much thicker than the original ones. So I don't know. These ones, the shorter ones, were down the back in the boot floor area. These longer ones were around about there on the chassis rail from memory. No, further up. They were further up the front, under the footwells. And for some reason I thought there was a third one along the back here somewhere, but I can't find anything. I didn't have them, so I can't see any reference to them. They didn't come with them in the kit. Aftermarket stuff doesn't always make sense. None of it come with any instructions either, so I'll just have to figure it out. Alrighty, a couple of things I have to do before I start working this out. Had to put some air in old Flatty McFlatty over there that always keeps going down. Now I got to take these front manifolds off, pull that brake line. Do I need to pull that brake line out of the way? No, I don't know, because that's going to kind of run up behind here somewhere and come back out up to the booster, I think. So yeah, I'll just get those manifolds off and then figure out what we're going to do after that. Scary. I'm not, yeah, I don't know, like I'm freaking out a little bit, but I'll just have to start working my way through it like a process, you know, and figure it out as I go along, like I do most stuff. But my Genga training will definitely help. One of the other things I just got to quickly do is I'll just quickly chase out these threads. I know you're supposed to use a proper thread chaser, and I'm just using a tap, but just to make sure they're all goods. So I'm not struggling underneath it trying to put bolts and stuff in. They're actually nice and clear. I thought they might be a bit more gummed up with all the old body sprays and paint and stuff that I've squirted up under here. Make sure there's no snapped bolts in there, but doesn't appear to be, which is good. There we go. Right, I'm going to start with, it's my knee, just one knee this time. It's winding this down as far as it'll go on the old scaffolding jacks, front and back, and then figure out how much I need to drop, you know, how much I've got to do stuff with blocks of wood and bring my Genga expertise into the fray. Try and line up the holes as best I can as well before I start jacking all that stuff underneath there. Not going to be able to go down too much lower before I start hitting the old transmission, but can also drop the air out of the bags, and I've got the advantage of being able to use the airbags to kind of like lift and lower the chassis in this situation, which I didn't have when I was taking it all apart. Look at this. On the other side. Alrighty, got my first Genga move underway with me axle stands and a few big Genga blocks, and front is actually, I think, sitting on there. Yeah, so that's taking weight. The hard part's going to be getting this low enough now, because I've got to can only bring it down so far before I can run out of travel on the old jacks, and then I'll have to cut them off. In hindy sight, I probably should have had the long length out there that way, so I could have got them down lower onto the ground, but too late for that now. But ultimately it all worked. I think I did it that way so I could get more height out of them actually, so I could get it up over the chassis. But anyway, that doesn't matter. So gotta figure out the next step down the back here, supporting it somehow. Formulating a little bit of a plan which might help me get a little lower. Alright, so by taking these wheels off, I can gain that much stuff, and then I can slowly wind these down, you know, manually to get me closer to being able to put stands or something under the back half of the body and hopefully have it not drop off the front. Alrighty, camera issues, but we'll just keep doing a little bit of this until we get it down far enough that I can support the back half with something, and then I'll bring y'all back in, see where we're at. That's kind of about, that's kind of loose now, so back to the other side. Okay, so here's my plan. I think hopefully this will work. Shut up, birds. I've got the weight sitting on that crossbar for part of the frame, and on that axle stand, just it's kind of sitting on the body, which I don't, on the floor, I don't really like. I don't think it's doing anything bad, hopefully. So what my kind of idea is to cut these down here, unbolt this front one, pull that out, and then I can drop the front down lower. Not quite sure how I'm going to do that. I might have to maybe put something across the chassis and put the jack up on there and jack up off the floor, and kind of tip it up a little bit and just go down a couple of notches on the old Hujimi Watts at the axle stands a little bit at a time. Do the same sort of thing down the back, jack it up, bring it down a little bit at a time until this is pretty close to the chassis. I still can drop I can pump that up a bit too. Same with the front. I think I dropped the front just a wee bit earlier, so I can kind of pull that back up to get it closer. But yeah, and then I have to get that back down far enough I can put something under there to support it off the body, and then I can pull that bar out. But what I'm worried about is if I cut this thing here, that leg's gonna want to walk sideways, so I really maybe should reconsider this and see if I can put it up on you know, put some blocks under the boot floor or something like that, something to hold it up that way so it's not reliant on, yeah, maybe I'll rethink this. I don't know, man, I'm just making this shit up as I go along. You know, I dipped out of the 1984 World Genga Championship, just the same kind of thing happened. I started to panic and freak out a little bit, but yeah, so that was the end of my professional Genga career. You know, the nerves got the better of me, and now find ourselves in that situation once again, you know, but I'm going to push through it this time and be the champ. Alrighty, so I've got a balance point there going on. It's not really the idealist one, but it might do until I can get this frame cut out and out of the way, and then I can start lowering the front down into position. It all actually seems like it's gonna, you know, it's lining up. All the back here is all lining up quite nicely. The C-notch doesn't seem to be hitting anything yet, but yeah, famous last words. So next step I think is actually to start cutting this out. New blade for the old reciprocator. I thought I was out of blades, but I found one the other day in its packet still, even in the cupboard with all the blade stuff. So does this fit this thing? Come on, let me get, there you go. Yep, good at that. Alright. Play down. Speeders in my street. Oh, that feels like it's got some onions. Alright, gloves. I reckon, gloves, goggles, earmuffs. Get this jack out of the way. Let's cut this stuff off. I can show you this stuff later, but I gotta get a socket to do some undoing of some stuff. I don't know what size I put in there. I'm pretty sure I did metric, maybe not. Can't remember. That it does. Okay, so that's that. Outski. What do I use? I don't know what that is. Yeah, got that sitting. I'm just gonna just hang in there at the moment, but yeah, I'll take that out and yeah. I use two different size bolts for that, so two different size bolts for that is what I was trying to say. Yeah, boy. A little bit of paint to touch up under there where they were bolted up onto there, and then good. Take this back one out now. Put a little bit of carpet over the chassis in case it drops and kind of falls and angles on things, you know what I'm saying? Alright, so there's a little bit of a sandy sand right there, and now down the back. Okay, so just gave them a wee spritz with some etch primer out of that little old school suction fed gun over there. That's going to give them a wee bit of a touch up, some black lacquer, seal them up, just like that. Just doing these little bits in the floor as well, where that bolt was. Oh, got to do the front. Almost forgot one. Wet on wet, yep. And lucky last, where is it? There it is. Yep, right. Let that dry off. So they're going to be foam rubber pads in there, so if I go and dump that on there now, it's just going to stick and stuff, which is not a big deal. Hopefully this body isn't coming off again. Next step, I want to start bringing the front down, because I remember when we took this out, it got hung up on the old rocker covers, so I want to kind of dip it in like whoosh, and then lower it back down to catch up to it, if you know what I mean, like bring the front down into it first. It's my plan. How I'm going to do that, not really sure. Ideally I would have been lifting it with my engine crane from the front or something, but my engine crane's out on loan, so I'm going to do it this way. We should be alright. It's kind of how I took it off, I think. Yeah, wait for some paint to dry, then start laying out these body rubbers and take it from there, I reckon. You reckon? Okay. Right. I'm going to slowly start lowering the front. Unfortunately, I have to do it kind of like one axle stand click at a time. Oop, I got too far, I think. Yep. Just put that down there. Oh. Lower it. Quite nerve-wracking. Actually, before I go too far, I've got to start laying out all the rubbers, those things. That one on there, that one on there. Hopefully these will not get knocked off and be a total pain in the, you know, trying to do this. Alright, I've got 2 spare, so they might be for something else. And I've got to do, keep those there, these things. I suppose I'll do the thicker ones at the front, under the floors, where most of the weight's going to carry around the doors and stuff, and the, I don't know. Yeah. Right, because you can actually, here we go, the beginning. I think from memory, that's where it sat there. I might have to have a quick look up on my phone because I took some photos of it. So that just sits on there, and then the skinnier one goes down the back. Oh, I should have marked this. That sits up on there somewhere. Sits back there. I think there's a hole there, so we just sit it there. And that's where it goes. I'll double check with my reference photos I took when I pulled the body, but yeah, those little short ones were the ones that were down the back, so we'll double check that. Okay, don't know if you can see this, but that's the front one and that's the back one. That's where they were sitting when I pulled the body. So I'm going to put them back there. The only thing that bothers me is that they are quite a bit thicker than the other body mount, the rubbers, the isolators, so we'll see how that goes. the old trolley jack rolled off and rolled forward on the blocks of wood, so just go down to one block now. That should be enough. Shortly I'll be pulling those 4x4s out and going straight onto the stands. She's coming down pretty close. I'm just going to do a quick check down the back, make sure she's all sort of stable down there. But that last drop, I was just about to lower it down and it rolled off and actually dropped about, I don't know, about that far, which was enough to give me a little bit of a fright. I think a little bit of wee might have come out actually. But she's all good. How's she looking down the back here actually? It's hard to see, it's dark as in here, can't see a thing. Might need to put some light in there and have a better look. But primarily I want to have a look. Let's see. My knees. Yeah, she's all still pretty. Ugh. What is that so loose? What's it hanging up on? I better have a look. Alrighty, so she seems to be sort of sitting, most of the back weight sitting on that corner at the moment. That's why that side's loose. I must have it uneven at the front at this point. I'll have a quick look. It looks pretty even. I don't know what's going on there. But we'll carry on, a couple of clicks at a time. Oh, she's close. A little bit of prying over it. Should be alright actually, hopefully. That's pretty much alright there. Let's come over a little bit. Still needs to come down just a scotch. But yeah, front's almost home. A little bit of clearancing on the firewall looks like it was plenty. Still got to come down heaps on the back, but I'm going to get a couple of bolts in the front here, make sure all my rubbers are all still lined up before I come around here and throw the old jack under the back here somehow, so I can kind of get rid of these axle stands. You know what I'm saying? We have touchdown. How's that? Cool. I don't know how many of these washers we need to put on everything. So what do I need? One there. Three, four springy washers. 4 of them. I do want washers top and bottom on this thing. It doesn't leave me many for the rest of it, because that would, I'll take 4 more for the underside of these. It only leaves me 4 for the rest. Is that enough? They've got to be on there, so yep. Let's do it. Then with me. I'm not going to tighten them up, so I won't take any tools in that yet. Washers, spring washers, a couple of nuts, and put the rest in my pocket. And drop everything else that's in my hand. I thought I'd put them in my pocket. No, must have changed my mind. I'll put them down there. And I'm going to get this one on there. Don't look at my body finishing stuff down there, would you? Hey, just don't you worry about that. Oh, gotta get that round the right way. Okay, right, so they're just loose. Let's do the other side. This side, the holes don't line up quite as good, but I'm kind of quite relieved at how it did come out, because I never retest fit. I never retest fit this after after I rebuilt that little foot thing. And okay, you lever it across a little bit. Yeah, beauty. Oh, sorry, banging my head on the old camera there. Yeah, that's the one. Just sort of gave the jack a little bit of a, jacked it up a wee bit just to, you know, take the load off that little rubber doodad. Alright, is that exhaust gonna clear there again? I don't know. Hopefully. Might be modifying my exhaust manifolds again yet, who knows. Let's get these on nice and loosey goose. Still heaps of room on there on that at the moment, but in saying that, it's not tight, so we'll see. Is this it? My little paint protector back on there. Get these woods over here to trip over later. And see if I can slowly ease this down. Probably going to run out of lowerage room actually, but whoop, I don't know what that was. Something in the C notch. Okay, that's, I think that's down. I don't know how well the holes are lining up, but we'll have a look. Okay, so this is what I was wondering with these big thick isolator pad things. That's not even touching. What's hitting before that? I don't know. Is it, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a big gap between that body mount and, you know, the body. It seems to be kind of all the way along. So I don't know whether when you bolt it down it kind of pulls it all in and that, but that pad, that one's not actually even touching, so I don't really know. Yeah, so they're all kind of not actually sitting on the pads. Obviously when you bolt them down it's going to pull them down tighter, but it's a bit the same at the back too. Like, it's got that thicker pad under here roundabouts, and this final body mount down here has got like a ton of room as well. do I put those thinner pads in, or do I just chuck bolts through and just, you know, wind it down? Is that going to pull the body out of shape and stuff? Let's have a look at the other side. Actually, I want to see whether that rubber pad is got weight on it. This one, yeah. Oh yes, that's got weight on it. So that's sitting on that side. So what is going on? Well, I just don't know. But you can see down there, all these body mounts are all sitting about half an inch away from where they're supposed to. So if I clamp that down, it's going to push off against the floor. It's not a bad thing, but in saying that, I haven't actually got the right amount of bolts and stuff for this, because that kit is not complete. So I can't actually even tighten all this down until I go and get some more hardware or scavenge around with what I've got and see if I can find something. When I got this car, it just had a couple of, you know, random mongrel sort of bolts holding the body on. The previous owner had already had the body off at some stage and had it on a carousel when they did the floors. Just been having a look through here. This was a box of hardware that came with it. None of it really looks particularly like, you know, body mountish thing. There's a little fender skirt clamp, clips and washers and stuff. Yeah, cap screws. They're not really that 50s looking. Bent fine thread things. Yeah, so I don't know. It's on anyway, so that's the scariest part over and done with. Now I've just got to figure out all the hardware, and do I put these pads back in, take those thicker ones back out and put these back in, since they're more like the factory ones. I did have some of these old ones kicking around, but I think I threw them out, and they were about that size, so it's not like I've, you know, need to double these up or something, I don't think. But yeah, these might fit, so I might clean these up and reinstall those instead of those thicker ones, and that would bring it down, and so there'll be less kind of warpage on the body, but it'll still have some rubber isolation between the body, the floor and the chassis down here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Alrighty, so I've taken 3 of those out and put in about to do the 4th one. I gave them a bit of a scrub up and a bit of a clean. They're not come up super nice, but they're alright. But yeah, 3 so far, 3 out of the 4 have just been able to push them out. So I don't know what the body's sitting on. We'll have to investigate that a bit further, I think. Might have to get it up on stands and yeah, see what we can see. But I'll get this in, and then we'll see if we can get some of these bolt holes to line up. Okay, so after battling with trying to figure out this bolt thing, this kit, I don't know, like it's just not the right kit for this car, even though the packaging says so. Because like, I don't know if you can see it, but it says 49 to 54 Chevy body mounting kit, and it's for something else. Some of it fits, some of it doesn't. I'm gonna need to get some more hardware to finish this off, because I'll need hardware for those 2 mounts there. There's 3, I think, and I still need the front. And they're all different lengths, and that was this kind of wrong. I need something for that back mount there. I did manage to get that one in on there, trialing and erroring the different bolt lengths and stuff, and I think the ones that are in there are actually a little bit too long once we clamp it down. But yeah, they were a mount that I relocated because of the step notch and stuff, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, but she's back onto the chassis, so that's what we were kind of hoping to achieve today, and we did. Choice, eh? But I've got to go out very, very shortly and do some rock questing, which is not like a geological thing, it's like music stuff. And yeah, so that's where I'm going to leave it for today. Hopefully be back tomorrow, maybe kind of dial this in a little bit more, or just finish up this video and make a list of nuts and bolts that I need to get. But yeah, so there we have it. Also, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, and you're watching this and you want to see, see where this goes. Hopefully this sort of, that turns into more like this eventually. Hit the button. It's not hard. Just subscribe. Don't be scared. I won't hurt you or anything. Probably more likely to hurt myself. So just hit the button and watch along. Okay. Okay. So next day, been and bought some more bolts. It's a Sunday, so kind of limited as to what I can get. So hopefully these will be all good. They're stainless, like the stainless kit, but they are metric. So I'm using the Imperial stuff where it's already got threads, so I'm having a bit of a mix of metric and Imperial. I know it's, I would rather have kept it all Imperial, but it's New Zealand. It's kind of harder to get the Imperial stuff unless you go into a specialty like fasteners shop, and I was just going to the local hardware, and that's what they have. Very little in the way of Imperial stuff. Total pain in the ass. Not like the old days, used to be able to get it, but it's not so easy now. So hopefully all these, hopefully these are all the right length, and I can get them all lined up. I was trying to put some of these little 3/8 bolts into the kind of captive threaded holes underneath, and I can't get a couple of them to line up for some reason. It could be the new floor braces that were put in by the previous owner, could be slightly out. I can get other holes to line up in that realm, but I just can't get two particular holes to line up. But I've got to get this thing up on stands so I can have an actual look and see what's going on, rather than just doing it by feel, you know what I'm saying? So I'll get this thing up on stands and then we'll have a look. Update, got all the holes to line up. I have to admit, it's taken me some time, and I'm still kind of thinking these couple of bolts might be a bit long. I'll run out of thread before they're tight. That's my concern. But yeah, they're all lined up. It's taken me ages. I haven't done any updates because it's been one of those ones where you don't really want a camera rolling, if you get what I'm saying. But we're getting there. Yeah, so carry on. Just got to tighten them all up now, and what a mission. Ended up trying to drag the body back just like a hair on the chassis was what the biggest issue was. I was having trouble getting them to line up. I got underneath and had a look, and it's like, half of the holes lined up, the other half were just a scotch enough out that the bolts were trying to go in all kind of crookedy cattywampus, as old Canadians say. But yeah, so there's a lever hoist under there. You don't want to see. I'll show you. Okay, let's have a look. It's laying soft now, so I had it hooked up to one of the drive shaft loop kind of mounts, and down to that cross member down the back, and just put some tension on there and did a bit of levering and sort of pushing and poking and stuff, and managed to get it to kind of scooch back enough to be able to do them suckers up. Well, get them started anyway, get the bolts in the holes, the ones that were fighting me. There was two in particular, both in the same place but on opposite sides. Don't know why, but they're in there now, and let's just say like taps and dies came out, and thread cleaning had to get done and things like that. So if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so carry on, get these all tightened up. Okay, that kid screaming over the road there, that's kind of how I feel on the inside. So the body is all bolted on now. Holy! What a mission. If only that bolt kit had been all the right size bolts, because that would have just made things so much easier. You know, I ended up using a couple of old bolts down in here. The ones I bought were too long and all sorts of drama was going on with it. Zip discs come out, tap and die set come out, bits of pipe for leverage come out, little crowbars come out, you know. Stuff like this happened and it's done. Yeah, but I had other plans to do other stuff today, but this has taken me the better part of the day. I'm beat, man. This thing kicked my ass. But it's done. Happy that it's done. So we've got those ones there. My bolts were too long, so I had to tap more thread into them. These ones here, bolts were slightly too long, had to tap some thread into them. Got one jammed, had to cut it off. The other side went alright, just had to tap a bit of thread into it. These here, got the right size bolts with a little bit of washerage, but had a shit fight trying to tighten them up, because they're supposed to be like a coach bolt type thing with a little square head that tucks into the floor. Didn't have those. I just used normal engineer's bolts, but stainless ones. So I managed to get one side done up by myself, and then I had to recruit my lovely wife from upstairs to come down and hold a thing for us so I could tighten them up from underneath. And these mounts here, which were a relocated mount that was on top of the original kind of chassis notch, and then these little back ones here. And yeah, the back ones were the easiest ones because they had the right bolts. Oh, they were actually a real shit fight to get the nut on initially, because it's tucked up inside the end of the chassis rail, and I kind of kept dropping the washers and stuff like that. So yeah, tears weren't too bad, like, you know, kind of I got it together, you know, after a little while. But now it's done, so thank goodness for that. So I gotta put some tools away, and yeah, probably a bit of a weird shit video. I haven't been doing a whole lot of filming with this one, just I don't really know why, just not been in my head, not been in the game, if you know what I mean. So it's probably only going to be a short one, hopefully, but well, hopefully, I don't know, but yeah, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And I'm going to clean up some stuff and then get this thing back down on the terra firma. Alrighty, so back down on terra firma, all bolted down for the last time, I would like to say. You never know. So this is what we got leftovers from the bolt kit. All the long bolts were all too long. I did use a couple of the shorter ones back here out of the longer ones, and the six or eight, like 2-inch ones, about 50 mil, or probably 2-inch, 3/8 by 2-inch or whatever, out of that totally stainless kit. So if you can make that out, that's the part number for it. Don't get it if you've got a 51 Fleetline, unless it was picked wrong when this whole shambles was kind of ordered by the previous owner, not myself, so I can't do anything about it. I just kind of got to live with it. It could have just been that one kit picked wrong, or packed wrong or something like that. I had never opened it. I opened it yesterday when I went to use it. So that's what's left over from there. Same with this body mount kit. They were just too thick, way too thick, and got a couple of leftovers, but these definitely need that, I think, for the radiator core support. Not sure about this other one, but keep them all as well. I'm not sure what they are for, and had a couple of spare ones of these. But yeah, these pads were too thick, especially for up the front. Probably could have put them in the back, but I put the original ones back in. Yeah, so another little milestone complete. Something I discovered when I was tightening up that bolt there was I put a P-clamp in down there somewhere for that rollover vent for the gas. The P-clamp didn't survive. It must have just put it in a spot that kind of was in the wrong place, and part of the boot sort of area just mangled it, and it's jammed in there now. There's no way I can get that out even for appearances. That is just cooked. I couldn't even really get in there to see it properly. Probably that's down. Probably can't see this, but that's it there, and it's just wedged and jammed in there. Yeah, the other side for the actual main fuel line, I put it in a different place, so that was all good, fortunately, because man, otherwise that body would probably have to come off again to get those out, and that ain't gonna happen. So yeah, yeah, so that's probably about it for this video. I don't think this one will end up being very long. You never know. Didn't film a whole hell of a lot, and yeah, I thought it was just going to be, you know, just drop it down, bolt some shit up, and maybe do something else, put the exhaust back on. But nah, putting the body back on wasn't that bad. It was just getting all the bolts to line up and getting the right bolts and stuff like that, especially when you thought you had all the right bolts and then that just didn't happen. And you know, like it was you know, the temperature got up there a couple of times, and we're coming into winter, so don't know what we're going to do next. Probably put the exhaust on. I've got a weld an O2 bung in one of those for the old Terminator X system. Needs an O2 bung. I didn't want to do it when I was doing the rest of the exhaust because I couldn't remember where I needed to do it. I didn't mark it before I pulled it all apart last time, but that's an easy one to figure out, I think. I don't think it matters whether it's left or right, but I'll probably put it more on the right hand side because the Terminator stuff's all over that side. And yeah, that'll be cool. I don't really know what else to say. Anyway, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you're kind of still watching at this point and you haven't kind of been bored, silly, and wandered off to mow the lawns or something like that. Make sure you subscribe. Do us that little thing. Join the DMAT Customs little kind of community. What is that? Is that a dent or dust? It's a dust on the roof. A lot of dust on the roof, and there's a couple of marks where I hit the top of the garage door when I was wheeling it in and out. So the one bit of the roof that wasn't all cuckoo because of the roof chop is now got little cuckoos in it anyway. There was a couple of little creases up there too, I think. I think people have been putting junk on this car at some point in its parked up life. So, because there was a few kind of creases in the roof up the front already. Yeah, so subscribe. That's where I was going with that anyway. Subscribe. And so that's where we'll leave it for this one. And as always, thanks for watching. Until next time, take it easy and peace. Forgot I was going to tell you about all this stuff. earlier. A mate of mine came up to get some work done at the shop last week, and he's a panel beater by trade, and he had a whole bunch of excess tools that he has gifted me, I think. Got a long board. I'll get it out onto the bench. So this is one of his old electric DAs. It's a rupees, and it's got a vacuum attachment thing. There's a bit still in the bag for it. Didn't have a pad, so I went and bought a pad and gave it a little whirl this afternoon, and it works pretty good. So that'll be good for cutting off all this old primer on here. Pins for this thing, which is an old snap-on pin. What are they called? Pin puller shrinker. Which that'll be quite handy. And there's a box of, I don't know what that is. Things. Oh, that's for that stuff there, I think, which is the slide hammer for the pin puller, which he took apart and didn't put back together. He told me I could do it. Spray gun. Don't know what sort. But yeah. I'll give that a clean up and I think I've got a cup that could go on that. That's a receipt for the pad. A couple of little ear tools, like a little ear belt snapper. 2000 this is. I think it's got a little belt, and I actually have some of these little belts because I ordered some the wrong size once, so I have got some. Unfortunately, my compressor's not quite got enough onions to run ear tools very well. This is the handle for the vacuum part on that DA. Body dolly, sort of drop forge USA type of thing, little slapper thing. I think that's for the slide hammer. I think some of these bits are for the slide hammer as well, but I don't know. I'll have to have a look at that. An old body file. And another little whirly jig thing with a wee brush on it. That'd be quite handy. Another body dolly. That'd be quite handy. And another little whirly jig thing with a little yeah. And a whole bunch of pins that all fell out the box. But yeah, that was real cool of him to bring those up for us and put to use on the old Area 51 project. But yeah, longboard will be handy, the DA definitely be handy, pin puller will be handy. Some of these I might just put aside for now. I don't really, like I said before, my compressor's not that good for ear tools. I try to use them every so often, but yeah, it runs out of juice. It runs out of juice pretty quick. But yeah, still nice of them to think of these like for that sort of thing. I wonder if that's, oh no, it's not broken. No. Yeah, so cool, eh? So that's what was in that red bag. I've got to find homes for it all now.